Wait, is this been my Moro? Okay, for context, he did the Bowser vs. Eggman fight, which I really love, and was my first death battle I reacted to on his channel. It was a really good death battle, probably one of my favorites of all time. I think this is Moro. Moro's a really good animator, I will say. He has made really good stuff. This includes, like, Indie Cross, there's a Murder Drones versus Hell of a Boss video. There's also, I believe, there's also some Cuphead fights, like one with Death. Like, he made really good animations and fights. I really love his animation style. So I'm actually honestly excited to see this. Even though I know neither of them. Yep, I don't know Shigaraki or Mahito. So yeah, I'm going to this completely blind. I don't know either. But yeah. Hey everyone, it's me. Oh shoot. No, my name's not oh shoot. I was foe. But yeah, it's me, Serene YouTuber. Today, I'm reacting to Shigaraki vs. Mahito. My Hero Academia versus Jujustu Kaisen. Let's get this started. Alright. 3, 2, 1, go. Fight!
Shigaraki versus Mahito.
The symbol of fear versus the human disaster curse.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win
A death battle. Huh.
Tenko Shimura was just a sweet, shy boy who loved superheroes.
But sometimes the hand of fate can't abide sweet shy boys.
Ruthlessly beaten and abused by his hero-hating father,
Jeez.
he pushed beyond his emotional limits until he activated his inherent superpower, or quirk.
It wasn't something cool like flight or super strength. In his terror, he accidentally killed his whole family. Well, except for dear old dad. That one was intentional.
Tenko wandered the streets alone,
Yeah.
silently begging for someone, anyone, to help him. If only a hero was there to save him. But instead, the only open hand he found belonged to the devil.
All for one. The greatest supervillain in history.
He took Tenko under his wing, feeding a hatred of everyone and everything, and grooming him to one day lead his league of villains in destroying hero society.
With that came a new name, Tobura Shigaraki, and an absolutely nightmarish quirk.
Jesus Christ!
What it says on the tin. Anything Shiggy touches with all 5 fingers turns to dust. The perfect
I already feel bad for this guy already. Bro got abused, and the only hope he got was from a villain. Jesus Christ! Give this guy some milk! Some chocolate milk!
Aren't prosthetics. Those are
Jesus
real
Christ!
hands from his family that he killed, attached to his face, and explicitly commanded to be left there by his mentor so that he would never forget his rage.
Oh my god!
While his use of decay started off relatively weak, it rapidly increased in power and range as Shigaraki came into his own.
Decay isn't even limited to whatever he's touching. Anything that touches something he's decaying also decays.
Spreading like an all-consuming miasma that can wipe out anything from an enormous tower to an entire city.
If decay reaches you, your only hope is to isolate the body part that is disintegrating before it gets to something vital.
After years of training with the greatest supervillain of all time, Shigaraki was finally put in charge of his own team with one mission. He must kill his master's rival, the #1 hero, All Might.
Only to fall flat on his face.
Shigaraki was a terrible leader, quick-tempered, short-sighted, and, well...
Cringe. Oh, he's just so cringe. He uses gamer lingo unironically.
I don't blame him since, yeah.
He's the kind of guy who would say normie in real life. In front of normies.
But they say defeat is the greatest teacher of all. Only through struggle could Shigaraki manifest his dark conviction.
Right as All Might's new protege, Izuku Midoriya, was coming into his own as well.
These two rivals, the inheritors of their master's blood feud, would push themselves past their own limitations.
Especially when All Might and All for One double KO'd each other, leaving Shigaraki to lead the League of Villains all by himself.
And with the stakes higher than ever before, Shigaraki stepped up. He personally battled the monstrous Gigantomachia for a month and a half straight, and conquered other villain organizations to create the Paranormal Liberation Front. Thousands of new soldiers for his personal army.
All to impress All for One's personal quack, Dr. Ujiko, who spent months upgrading Shigaraki's body to make it more like his sensei's. It might have been constant agony, but Shiggy went from Chud to Chad.
Ujiko's experimentation vastly increased Shigaraki's strength, speed, and durability, enough to match and surpass even All Might's absurd power.
Sharing All Might's power between them, Deku and Bakugo were able to punch an island-sized hole in a cloud that reached 24 miles into the sky. We've calculated that before to be nearly 80 million megatons of TNT.
Wow.
Almost as much as the meteor that wiped out the dinosaurs.
And Shigaraki can now move fast enough that his body produces hypersonic shockwaves and can even catch laser beams.
And he's tough enough to survive Star and Stripes' intercontinental ballistic cruise punch. Now the new name for my penis. Move over, gigantic Omega Storm. Anyway, it also made a blast so big it showed up against the curvature of the Earth.
Though he might seem invincible, when Shigaraki's body is pushed hard,
Bruh.
he will evolve
There we
into
go.
a state of uncontrollable power.
So Decay became? Oh shit, more hate.
Oh!
He can spontaneously generate flesh into existence, seemingly oceans of it in an instant, whenever he wants. He can even use it as a type of armor to defend himself in close combat.
Ew!
Nothing compared to Ujiko's greatest gift. Shigaraki wanted to be the new All for One. So what better way than the old man's quirk?
All for One's quirk, All for One, allows its user to steal and store quirks with just a touch.
And All for One has hundreds of them stored up, collected over the years.
Each quirk is connected to a memory of its user's essence in the form of a spirit, a vestige.
Kinda like a piece of their soul. They exist in this kind of psychic world in Shigaraki's body, and can even act as a spiritual defense should it be invaded.
And with those vestiges came quirks like super fast healing, air blasts, radio waves, flight, telekinesis,
Wow.
teleportation of others, and the ability to track foes.
He can even combine multiple quirks together, like in this big-ass electric Kamehameha.
However, any vestige stolen or destroyed will also remove that quirk from Shigaraki's repertoire.
Yeah, makes
Also
sense.
sentient, and some can even fight for control.
Which is when the second shoe finally dropped. Because Shigaraki also got All for One's vestige, that means All for One was now in possession of a shiny new body that he'd spent the last 15 years molding for him to take over.
Shigaraki's entire existence was planned from the beginning. Why? Because All Might's previous mentor was Nana Shimura, Tanko's grandmother.
Oh, that's
Dun,
a mess with
dun,
All Might.
dun.
That is some next level hating right there.
He manipulated Shigaraki's entire life, all for one purpose: to create a soul so corrupted it would grind away at All Might's perfect world, allowing All for One to take full control.
But
Jeez.
All for One's possession wasn't complete, and Shiggy managed to fight his way back to the top, literally decaying his way through vestiges in the process, all to fight his rival Deku one last time.
Despite Izuku's best efforts to save him, Shigaraki was too far gone. His spirit decayed by years of venomous hatred.
And
Yeah.
the new symbol of hope defeated the new symbol of fear,
And he's dead.
burying All for One's grudge for good.
All that Shigaraki asked was to be remembered as the heartless destroyer he was raised to be, and not the broken, angry, crying little boy he really was deep
Yeah.
inside.
For just that one moment, though, Shiggy got in Deku the only thing he'd been denied his whole life. The one thing his lifelong nihilistic tantrum was really all about. He got a hero who tried to save him.
Aw.
This battle is sponsored by...
Dude, Jesus Christ, I literally just learned this guy today, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, poor dude.
Contributions.
The privileges of the very privileged...
Bro's whole life was just misery in a nutshell, Jesus. I guess that came with good power for like a death battle, I
You
guess.
also get 4% APY on your
Cause like,
non-retirement
absorbance,
accounts.
cause like,
That's over
able to like get a piece of like people's souls to like learn their abilities, control an army.
Any network.
The new
Kind of really, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't kind of really pay attention to this one. Maybe because I just felt bad for the guy, but only what I did learn, it's interesting to see what he has.
3% match requires Robinhood Gold.
Though I also, I guess I would also say that it's like, since you know his old little touch thing is just the flesh, just ugh. No, I know it's his powers, but ew. Ugh.
Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
So I feel bad for the guy.
Ever since Cain slew his brother Abel,
Is this one gonna be the with a traumatic backstory?
his greatest fear has been his fellow man.
But what if this fear took on a life of its own?
Whoa!
What if all that negative emotion humans felt for one another spilled from their bodies and congealed, forming, over time, a living being fueled by malice, which believes in nothing but the law of the jungle?
Well, then you'd have the special grade curse with the patch face, Mahito.
Huh.
Oh, I've had people tell me I'd become a human disaster curse when I've had too many mojitos.
Mahito is one of the deadliest beings to ever afflict mankind. He's no mere mortal, though, but a cursed spirit. Innumerable spirits exist.
So a cursed spirit made by
stronger
fear.
Depending
Huh.
on the amount of anxieties, jealousies, hatreds, and fears humans feel about them.
Yeah.
Like the fear of locusts, kind of weak. Or the fear of smallpox, getting stronger. Or the fear of fire. Oh, goodbye, Tokyo.
Yeah.
So it follows that mankind's fear of itself would be extremely powerful. Those negative emotions manifest as Mahito, a being composed of cursed energy.
It's basically
Interesting.
like evil key. Cursed energy can be used to make spirits way stronger, faster, and tougher than any normal human. And it's invisible, making curses like Mahito impossible for the untrained eye to see.
Huh.
Only a life or death situation can galvanize a normal person to see a cursed spirit.
That also makes cursed spirits virtually immune to physical damage. They may be physically present in space, but can only be harmed by attacks that embody spirit matter like cursed energy.
Which makes curses insanely hard to get rid of, like ghost cockroaches or my ex. That's
Ew.
when you need a Jujutsu sorcerer to come in and Kaisen the shit out of them. They call it exorcism, but I like the way I said it better.
Curses and sorcerers have battled each other for millennia, waging an endless war over the fate of humanity. Almost exclusively in Japan, though, for some reason.
But Mahito
Yeah,
is
us Americans are perfectly fine.
dumb animals. But Mahito has so much cursed energy that it gave him sentience.
So he was recruited by Kenjaku alongside other special grade disaster curses to wreak havoc upon the world. In fact, they made Mahito their leader.
And even more frightening than intelligence and bloodlust, Mahito possessed philosophy.
Perhaps informed by the tragic meaninglessness of interhuman conflict, Mahito is an existential nihilist, believing in nothing but his own will to power. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and Mahito is the wolf.
Which also makes him kind of a goofball. If nothing matters, why not have fun with the slaughter? Really get your
Fair enough.
He loves to dig around and toy with your emotions like a cartoon character before slitting your throat.
Yeah, it's just, I'm gonna mess with you a lot, and then I'll kill you.
Transfiguration.
I'm gonna have fun with your soul.
Mahito can control anyone's soul with just a touch, including his own. In fact, he's so good at manipulating his own soul that you can't even kill the bastard without directly targeting it.
In Jujustu Kaisen,
Huh.
the soul and the body share an immutable connection. Whatever happens to the former affects the latter.
This lets Mahito squash, stretch, and shape-shift his body into literally anything he wants, like Play-Doh. He can turn his limbs into blades or clubs, grow wings like a bird.
Yeah, first, I feel like Mahito's gonna take the win on this one. I'll listen to more, but
Naturally unharmed by their own
I think I'm already seeing that Mahito's gonna
His
win.
alterations to their body are instantly fatal.
And since he's attacking your soul, those physical wounds are gonna be impossible to heal.
Even if his alteration isn't directly fatal, the human body won't last more than a few moments in a transfigured state.
All that with one touch. And I thought herpes was bad.
His powers mean Mahito treats humans as effectively disposable dolls that he can gleefully experiment on. The more casualties, the better. Especially
Yeah.
if he gets to break your spirit first and watch you suffer.
Even more twisted is when he combines two transfigured humans together for soul multiplicity. Essentially a giant torrent of body horror flesh that he repels at an opponent.
Ah!
Mahito is unbelievably creative
Jesus!
with the application of idol transfiguration, and despite being a newborn curse, consistently keeps experienced sorcerers on the back foot.
It helps that he's a quick study who's picked up a number of different curse techniques, like the Black Flash.
By applying cursed energy within 1 microsecond of an impact with an enemy, space itself will distort, exponentially amplifying its force by a factor of 2.5.
Not only does this hurt like a mother, it restores your curse technique and gets you fully in the zone.
And would require reflexes moving nearly 1,000 times the speed of sound.
Wow.
It's no surprise then that Mahito also unlocked the pinnacle of sorcerer techniques, the Domain Expansion.
Oh shit! More hands! A domain is like a barrier of cursed energy, but if you're caught inside, Mahito can use idol transfiguration instantly, without even needing to touch you.
It's called the self-embodiment of perfection, the ultimate expression of Mahito's absolute control over his victim's body and soul. The only time it ever failed was against the student sorcerer and Mahito's archenemy, Yuji Itadori.
Because not only was Yuji a barf-inducing goody little two-shoes who believed in the inalienable rights of all living things, blah, blah, blah.
Blech.
Inside of him,
The king of curses, Sukuna.
which meant Mahito's ability affected both souls in Yuji's body. Sukuna didn't like that. No surprise, and kicked Mahito's ass, forcing Patchface to fight with a handicap whenever facing his pink-haired menace.
Yuji's belief
Yeah.
in the value of human life flew directly in the face of the world that Mahito knew to be cruel and meaningless. So he made it his mission to
It's maybe a bit difficult, actually.
Murdering his friends, defiling their corpses, and brutally battering him before going in for the kill.
And he's got the strength to do it. Mahito's one of the most powerful curses in the world, and his growth is exponential.
Fellow disaster curse Jogo was able to summon a massive meteor capable of reducing the city of Shibuya to ash.
That'd take it
Wow.
over 800 kilotons of TNT.
And Mahito can take as good as he can give, especially when, in the throes of struggle against Yuji, he evolved, unlocking a vastly more powerful form, the instant body of distorted killing.
Complete with armored exoskeleton and arm blades, this was a taste of the almighty curse Mahito was growing into. A true blight on all mankind.
It wouldn't last. In a bitter battle of resolve, Yuji won out. In a dog-eat-dog war, there was now a bigger wolf.
So he tucked tail and ran away like a bitch. What do you know? Life suddenly became a whole lot more meaningful the second it looked like it was about to end.
All that gleeful nihilism, just a bitter hypocrisy in the end.
Now he is fear. Now he is experiencing fear.
Mahito found a convert in his archenemy. After a battle that wiped out thousands of innocent people, Yuji's youthful spirit was gone. The only thing left that mattered was exorcising this curse.
In a way, that was Mahito's final victory, the destruction of another human being's soul. He may not have been around to see it, but the curse Mahito inflicted on the world would bring it to its knees.
So both have canonically died, it
Hey, you see that
seems.
join button? Yeah, that one. That's your
I don't really do membership, sorry, but
As a champion,
I was gonna
you can
say
also
Mahito would take the win, but I'm actually unsure now. Mainly because that like
and the support helps
I think it's still gonna give it to Mahito because like yeah, it's like he only got unstable when he actually lost, but Shigaraki became unstable when he had too much. So and since Shigaraki definitely experienced a lot of fear, I think Mahito could at least use that a lot. Oh shit, I forgot to say yo death battle, damn it. But anyways. Wait! Jeez!
I'd heard of a powerful villain stalking these parts. My organization is going to tear this putrid world down around us. We could use a freak of your talents.
Little old me. Do I want to be king of the social rejects? How about I bring them your head instead?
Fine by me. Let's call this your audition, Sickum.
Bro's not even fighting, he's on his phone. Ugh! Yeah, maybe we should actually start fighting. Oh god, freaking arm stuff. Oh.
Did you actually just say that? How lame! Audition over. Did I get the part?
Yeah, I wonder if you can get a touch first, actually. Oi! Ah! What the? Whoa!
Domain expansion.
Whoa.
I can read your soul. You're just a scared little boy whose daddy is mean and wants to make it everyone else's problem.
Yeah, he feasts on that fear. Get that out of there. I'm in the middle of a death battle watching. What the hell?
Hands off my masterpiece.
Huh?
I felt your soul too. You only hate humanity because you were born that way.
Why are you running? Why are you running? Yeah, sure. Is this sure guy win? Get over here! Oh! That's another loss in my account book.
What did I say, Wiz? Like a bitch.
With their
Yeah, like a bitch!
match was a puzzle to figure out, which is why we're breaking it down to 3 categories: physical stats, survivability, and their powers.
But first, let's address one thing. Could Shigaraki even see Mahito? He's an invisible curse after all.
Cursed energy and quirks are notably different, and Shigaraki wouldn't be able to see curses normally. However, even regular humans can spontaneously develop the ability to see curses in life and death scenarios. And with the Surge quirk, Shigaraki would have had no problem tracking it.
So seeing Mahito wouldn't have been an issue. With that out of the way,
All right.
jump into their stats.
This was no contest. Despite the disaster curses being able to destroy entire cities with their cursed energy, Shigaraki's scaling to Deku and Bakugo meant he was calculably
Yeah, that's fair.
stronger.
He was faster, too, considering he could react to light beams, while Mahito's Black Flash capped out at nearly 1,000 times the speed of sound. Nothing to scoff at, but Shiggy was thousands of times faster. Shigaraki takes stats.
Fair.
But survivability was a little trickier to figure out.
Yep, in terms of raw durability, Shigaraki was a lot tougher, and his ability to generate new flesh meant that he could heal any wounds he might receive super easy.
Oh yeah. Maybe I should have paid more attention to Shigaraki's stats. Whoops.
Overwhelming physical damage, Shigaraki
Instead of me worried about like his whole traumatic backstory.
regenerative ability via idle transfiguration meant that he'd come back from anything short of spiritual damage.
Considering Mahito's unique curse body, he should actually get the edge in survivability.
Which
Alright.
presents a crucial question. Could Shigaraki even kill a curse like Mahito in the first place?
Or would Mahito's unkillability give him the time he needed to eventually put Shiggy down with idle transfiguration?
It all comes down to their powers.
Shigaraki had a lot more variety with all of the crazy quirks All For One had collected over all the years, but none that we know of could properly kill a curse. That didn't mean idle transfiguration was a surefire bet either, though.
Of all things, Shigaraki's vestiges served as a spiritual shield from the effects of idle transfiguration. The fact that Mahito could not avoid targeting Sukuna while attacking Yuji meant that he couldn't target specific souls inside a person.
And Shiggy has hundreds of soul-like entities inside of him. Sure, each one down means he loses a quirk, But that's more than enough time to land a single hit with Decay, especially considering how much faster Shiggy is.
And Mahito has no way to defend against Shigaraki's primary quirk. Decay has affected spiritual beings in the past. Again, vestiges. In fact, he was able to damage Deku's vestige and have that damage transferred to the Deku in the real world.
Mahito may be made of spirit energy, but he still has a physical form. In fact, sorcerers that couldn't naturally target the soul were able to fight him on even footing. No reason to think Shiggy wouldn't
Really?
like everyone else.
Giving Shigaraki the third and final.
Yeah.
It was a
Whoops.
unique duel to the death, but Shigaraki's overwhelming might, unstoppable powers, and
I thought it would be a Mahito win, but nah, I'm wrong.
Nothing else to say. You really gotta hand it to Shigaraki.
the winner is Tomura Shigaraki.
Nice one, fam.
It's time on Death Battle.
Yeah, this one's the remake of an old one. Master Chief versus Doom. Master Chief versus Doom guy.
Subscribe and
Doom
join as a
Slayer.
member to see more Death Battle. Thanks for watching.
So yeah, that was Shigaraki versus Mahito. I feel like I should have been more invested into who actually their actual abilities instead of be worried about some kid's backstory. I know it started with Jesus Christ. But yeah, it was honestly a pretty good death battle. And I'm pretty sure this is actually still made by... And actually, this one's made by Mora, which he did a nice job on. I like the visuals. But yeah, we hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching. See you all next time. And that being Master Chief vs. Doomslayer. Bye-bye.